All right.
I have to consent.
I'm gonna
No,
leave
you
the
don't get to
meeting.
consent. No.
It says by continuing to be in the meeting, you're consenting to be recorded.
Leave the meeting.
Yeah.
Whatever.
All right, whatever.
know
Welcome
what's
back
happening.
to the Mortal Coil podcast. It's been a long ass time from the time I started recording this, which was like 2 years ago, pre-pandemic. Hot. Um, Originally this podcast was going to go in a completely different direction, but I said fuck it, so we're going in a new direction, and I think it's going to be way better, more fun. Um, I think it's just going to be more interactive for everyone because the first few have been very scripted and very difficult to sort of discuss. It was very much a scripted. You look at those and watch the videos, literally have the paper right there. So, anyways, the topic for today or tonight, since it's nighttime, is going to be social media. And I want to talk about social media for a few reasons, but one I guess we can start off with is I'll start with a question to you guys. What is your perspective on social media as a whole? Like, I gotta think of a better way to put that. How do you guys perceive the use of social media as of today in terms of its entire aspect compared to whatever 5 years ago?
I personally feel this is Jose Rodriguez speaking. Thank you for having me, Peter.
It's going to be a video, so good job.
All right. Well, this is Jose Rodriguez still speaking. I'm not gonna admit mistakes.
Oh, he's embarrassing himself already.
So no, I feel like social media had good intentions, as does anything. Connect people, just keep in contact and whatnot. But now it's turned into like a quest for fame constantly, like in regards to whoever gets the most likes or whoever gets the most retweets and whatnot. And I feel like everyone is kind of like putting themselves out there, which is a good thing. But at the same time, I don't know. I just see people. You guys remember World War Z? I don't know if you guys saw that movie when the zombies are all climbing over each other to get to Jerusalem. That's what I feel like people on social media are doing.
And when did you think you saw? When do you think that started happening?
Oh God.
You don't have to like September 27th, 19, but like it doesn't have to be
a
specific, but if you could ballpark it, when do you think that started happening?
I don't want to say TikTok. I really don't.
TikTok accelerated it, but I don't think it started there. You're right.
Yeah. Correct. I agree with that.
I would argue that it started with Vine.
Vine.
I think it started with Vine.
R.I.P.
Because Vine is where we saw a lot of. I think Vine is the first time we were able to see sort of social media outside of YouTube become mega stars for doing 7-second videos. 7 seconds. Meanwhile, like YouTube was hard. You had to do a lot of editing, a lot of subtitles, and a lot of work, hours of video work condensed into a 20-minute video. That was a lot of work, and it warranted those subscribers and the money you made.
Yeah.
Now Vine came around and we had people with 5 million, 6 million, 10 million, and that was where Vine, I think, and from Vine, we got so many other people. The Paul brothers came from Vine. That's a perfect example. Jake and Logan Paul came from Vine. And now one of them is boxing for millions of dollars and is on cable television because he made himself so problematic that he problematic himself up to the top.
Yeah.
So I would agree with you.
Yeah, if I remembered Vine, I would have said Vine because that's because I remember that's when I was like, I think it came out when I was in high school. I was like, oh, people are getting big with this, and me and my buddy from high school, we tried it because with Vine, the simplicity of it, it just seemed like anyone can do it, as you were saying. Right. Anyone, it's your chance for fame. Just be funny enough, be attractive enough, be whatever, and then that bleeds into all the other apps because when you were doing Vine, you also use your other social media platforms. But
and that's the thing though. Like Vine, I think I think Alex, you said a good point. Was TikTok accelerated, and I think well, obviously it's Musically and then TikTok, whatever. Um, but I agree. I think Vine was sort of the beginning of that, and then TikTok Musically is what sort of thrusted us into that era, which we are in now, where you are more and more people are successfully being able to thrive and live off of likes and comments as a job and as getting paid for that, which is absurd. More so than just YouTube. And the fact that I can get famous on TikTok and then carry that over qualitatively and quantitatively to YouTube, where I can get a more sustainable career by just posting vlogs. Uh, you know, I don't necessarily agree with a lot of it, but it is a thing that is happening. I mean, well, go ahead, Alex. I want to hear your point. I want to hear anything you have to say about that.
Well, I think you guys really like nailed it, but I also think that just even like Instagram and Twitter didn't help either because they can be very toxic spaces. You know, someone says something and there are people who say really bad things on there. They deserve to get hit with something really hard. But other times people will just post something and they get bullied off. Like look at all the toxic fan bases that are out there for like franchise and stuff, like all the Star Wars actors and Marvel actors who get bullied off their social media because they didn't post something soon enough or like, oh, they weren't there for this. But even like Instagram influencers, you know, like they're like, oh, you know, I'm a Visco girl, get this, get that. And I feel like a lot of social media is artificial in the sense that people can present an image of who they want to be perceived as rather than who they are. So I feel like it's also false representation of what you should be doing with your life and like, oh, this person did this when they were 19, I'm 21 and I haven't done that, you know. So I think it's also not really good for anyone's mental health whatsoever, and yet we're all addicted to it and we can't live without it, and I'm guilty of that. Many of us are guilty of that, and it's this constant cycle, and I don't know if we can break it because we become so dependent on it. It's disturbing to think about, actually.
It is. I agree. I think it's quite disturbing. And you hit on a multiple topics, and one of them I think is really important. Is you said how we all use it and we're all addicted to it. The problem with that is that specifically someone like me who's a communications major, who majored in, graduated obviously, but more times than not, most occupations nowadays are thriving off of social media. So even if you want to rid yourself of it, you need to be present on it. You like LinkedIn, you need to have a LinkedIn. If you are any job outside of like some of the minor ones that are guaranteed a position, like a doctor or an astrophysicist, like certain very specific niche places don't need a LinkedIn. You can have one, good for you, great, but you don't really need one. But like you need that. You need to participate in that culture. If you're communications or you're someone who's film, you're like, you guys both are participating in artistic backgrounds. Therefore, you need to be a part of social media because that's how you get your art out there. No one sits on a street corner and sells their film or their tape or whatever anymore. Most of that's a scam because you get it from New York, and then the guy's like, "Oh, $5 for a CD," and next thing you know, he's got $30 out of you. So that's what sucks about social media in that aspect, is because you need it. You absolutely need it. You can do it without it, but by all means, it will help you so much if you are participating in it. And I think the issue is sometimes we get caught up in the sort of quantitative aspect of it, the likes and the comments, rather than just using it as a portfolio, you know. Um, and then you said something else that cued me to want to ask you. You said Twitter is so toxic, and I've noticed this as someone who really doesn't use Twitter. I use Twitter to sort of read a couple comments, I like a couple things, but I don't like post stuff, and I don't really use it a lot. I don't know if this is just me, but I have noticed that depending on the social media app, there's sort of an atmosphere that comes with each social media app. So like Twitter seems to be the place to go when you want to be toxic. Like, so what? I don't know all of them. What are the other ones? Actually, you know what?
I,
Hold on. I'm gonna pause real quick. Hold on. All right, we had to
did you
take
wash your
a
hands?
whole. Of course, I wash my hands. We had to take a whole ass break. Emergency there. Jose's now wearing a hat. Um, but we were talking about how different social medias have their own atmospheres. Twitter seems to be a very toxic, like you go there to be toxic, and like everyone's there to attack each other and be sarcastic. I don't know the other ones. Do you agree? And if so, what do you think is one of the other ones? Because I don't know them all.
I mean, Snapchat seems like the place where like
Horny.
horny people go. Yeah, I didn't want to
That's
say
it.
that, but yeah, horny, very
Okay.
horny.
Aroused.
Yeah, it's
I feel
there
like I feel like
for and for
Snapchat is I feel like Snapchat's one of two things. I feel like Snapchat is either for horny ass people, or you do what I do, which is you just use the stories. You just look at all of the little videos that they have on there now.
I forgot about that.
I don't use it for that. I usually just use it just to Snapchat my girl. That's it.
Like I said, horny.
That's not true, bro. Fuck you. But
Nah,
I
he
want to I
does
want
that
to
for
circle.
text.
Yeah, fuck you, bro. I want to circle back to the Twitter thing. Um, I didn't agree with everyone wanting to attack one another, but the sarcasm I definitely did. I did see maybe it's almost like a holier than thou type vibe with Twitter. Like I don't know,
Okay.
I'm trying
I
to
mean,
formulate my thoughts here with that.
no, that's fair. I understand what you're getting at. I think sarcasm is way more prevalent in something like Twitter, and I think it can come off as more negative, but I do agree it is more sarcastic, and I know this because most of your tweets are sarcasm.
I
So
was honestly I was basing it off of just the shit I tweet, and I'm like, wow, I'm just pretty much just sarcastic. Yeah, it's just yeah,
it's all just pure sarcasm.
it's
Um,
just satire and sarcasm.
yeah, I think Instagram's a very problematic social media.
That's interesting.
I think Instagram is more harmful and more problematic than any of the apps we currently use. That includes TikTok, that includes Facebook,
Wow.
Twitter, all of them. I personally think that Instagram is the worst for multiple reasons. Um, I think, for one, because you have Instagram influencers, and all of them are these fake, overly pretty. And when I say overly pretty, I mean it is either completely semi fabricated, and it is not it is dissimilar to something like acting or in a film where you know it's fake and they're supposed to look pretty because these people are portraying their real life. Um, and the entire app, since probably 2 years after it was made, has been founded upon promoting pretty people and pretty images. So even if you're just trying to promote your next film or your work, if it's not pretty, it's not doing well. Versus
Yeah.
something like TikTok, where almost anything goes. And I think TikTok's a special case because they have a whole separate algorithm that's different from every other app. But different from Twitter, different from Facebook. You know, Facebook is really where your moms sit at watching dog videos and zoo
Sharing misinformation.
I was just like conservative family members.
Yes, conservative family members create their groups so they can chat and talk, and it's for families to share photos to each other because it's easier than texting because now I'm not obligated to respond to you in 10 minutes.
Mm.
Twitter has got pictures and videos, but it is more profitable for everyone to just use words. Instagram is, for that reason, my opinion, most toxic. And also because I find that more times than not, the Instagram influencers tend to always be a problem versus like TikTokers, YouTubers, Facebook famous people, and Twitter famous people. Like you don't really hear or see anything about most of those people. Obviously, YouTube's YouTube, like we get that, but they have they're on another level. But you don't talk about famous Snapchatters, you don't talk about Facebook or TikTok to an extent, you do, but Instagram seems to be a huge problem. I don't usually see anything like good from like a famous Instagrammer did this. So I don't know. What do you guys agree or disagree?
I never thought of that perspective before, but I could definitely see where you're coming from.
Yeah.
I feel like I see more controversy in regards to TikTok celebrities than I do Instagram. And again, I don't know any Instagram influencers that I personally
Mhm.
follow, but I feel like a lot of TikTokers are just constantly like new things are coming up of them, like stuff they've done in the past. So, but yeah, that is an interesting perspective.
All right. Well, I mean, I all right. Well, I do agree with you. You tend to hear more on TikTok in terms of issues. I would argue still though that even though they are having problems, I think it differs from something like Instagram because I feel like at least with Instagram, at least with TikTok, you can take some good with it, and I feel like there's a lot less good on Instagram.
Okay,
I feel
I
like
get it.
there's so obviously yes, there's people who make beautiful art and they use it to post their beautiful photography and
Mm,
things like that. But in terms of the sort of celebrity aspect and the celebrity quality of these apps, TikTok has those goods and those bads, and you take the good with the bad. And I feel like Instagram just has a significantly larger amount of bad in it and
yeah,
very little good, if neutral at all. And I think that's where I'm coming from in terms of why I deem Instagram worse.
I agree.
And and it's also worse since Facebook bought it because they prioritize the shopping center.
Yeah.
That
And
is insane, bro. I think that's so like so stupid, dog.
look, it was awful. Everyone hated it, but
It's
most
still
people
there. It's
stayed.
still fucking
Most
there.
people stayed. Well, you're not gonna
Yeah,
leave.
that's the addiction. That's the addiction that Alex was talking about, bro. Like, I wanted to delete my TikTok account the other day, and I just can't. I just can't. It's kind of like all right, TikTok is to me, it's kind of like fast food.
Mm.
Because like in that moment, bro, you're there, you're eating that I don't want to name it fast food because I want to get sponsored eventually, but you're eating those chicken and those fries, and then like later on, you're like, how the fuck did I do that? You know, like you
Yeah.
feel gross and kind of heavy. I feel like I wasted time. Like I just scrolled for like an hour of my life, and I don't know, TikTok, social media, certain social media apps are just fast food.
Mm.
I think specifically with TikTok, it is a massive, massive problem. I think me included, I think I've consistently find myself scrolling and be like, what the hell? Where did 2 hours go?
Yeah.
Yeah,
And you know, honestly, that means that their system is working. That's what they want you
Mm.
to do. They want you to forget and lose time. And that's the point of these social media apps is because they profit off of your eyeballs. And as long as you're on the app, they make more money. So
Mm.
that's the point. They profit over that over everything else, mental health, general health, real creative content, negative false information. They profit as long as you're there. And they don't care what that takes. They will just do it to keep you there.
mm,
Um, yeah,
it's scary.
awful, absolutely
Yeah,
awful. Um, yeah, and I think, and like I said before, it wraps back to what we were saying before, which is, like you were saying, it's hard for you to get off. And I think part of the reason it's hard for you to get off is because you should at least be aware of it because you don't want to fall behind.
yeah,
And I think that's for us specifically because we're all either graduated or just about to graduate college, and we're hitting that sort of age gap where we now have to make a choice. Do we
mhm,
want to be aware of the upcoming generations and what they're doing, or do we want to sort of turn a blind eye and do what our parents, our grandparents, everyone else is doing, which is by the time we hit 40, we're like, what in the hell is that? What the fuck
I
that
feel like
is?
I'm like that now. I can't keep up with this kind of shit, you know?
Yeah.
Like these new trends and shit. Like I'm working, I'm trying to get some stuff done. And my cousin, she's 19, and she'll come to me like with these like new trends. Like, what the fuck is this? When did this become a thing?
Well, but
So
see, but that's a difference though. I think see, but you're still aware of TikTok and you're still aware that there are trends though. And I think that still puts you ahead from people like our parents
sure.
because our parents, they got on Facebook and that's it.
They were
And they're
done. They
like,
clocked
I
out.
can't
They were
do
like,
anything.
no more for me.
I can barely work Facebook and that's it. You know what I mean? You know how social media works, you know how to manage it. And if there was a new app, you could figure it out. And I think that also has to do with the fact that our generation sort of grew up with technology. We sort of we went from the iPod Shuffle to the iPhone 13 coming out soon. Like, so someone like my brother, who's going to be 10, has grown up from birth with iPads and smartphones in his world. So social media is going to be easy for him for the rest of his life.
That's crazy to think
I
about.
would say that's good, but also scary at the same
Right.
Yeah.
time.
It's scary because he's probably an iPad kid. For those who don't know, you don't need to know. For those who know, yeah. Uh, he's an iPad kid. Um, and it's weird. It's
Yeah.
weird because the stuff he's doing was stuff that I couldn't do till I was 5, 6 years older than him. And it's wild. And something to think about as well. My mom specifically used a typewriter for school and she had one of the first sets of computers. The first one's like binary code crap. And now we have smartphones. So that's why I tend to try and have patience with like my grandparents or my parents when they ask for tech help, because they literally went from the stone wheel to floating cars in their lifetime. And that's a lot. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They literally went from handwritten notes to text messages and FaceTime and Zoom calls. I can't imagine trying to comprehend that. For us, it's really easy because every 2 years something happens. Zoom, Skype, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and it happens literally every 2 years. And that's because there was a certain point, I don't know what year it was. I think it was like 2005 or somewhere around there. We hit a point in technology where the sort of curve, instead of it being a slight incline, just sort of fucking bell curved upwards. And the innovations are occurring at an excessive rate now. And for that reason, we are able to comprehend it. But even more so, someone like my brother is able to comprehend it even more because he was born with it. At least for him, he was born with iPads and iPhones in his realm. You, me, all of us were born with flip phones. My first phone was a flip phone. It was a Nokia, and it had a leather case. And if I wanted to text hi, it took me 5 fucking minutes because I screwed up and put it L instead of an H, and I had to backspace and then tap through the letter 5, 6 times. Awful.
My first phone was the Firefly, bro. You guys remember that?
Oh my
You can
god.
call home or the cops. Only 2 options.
Oh my god.
Oh, they call that, yeah, the Firefly. You get that for your grandparents nowadays.
Oh shit.
Yeah, that's the thing you can get it. I don't know if they still sell it. I used to see it at Costco. It was for like grandparents who didn't know how to use phones that well. It was like 3 or 4 buttons. One was the cops, one was you, one was like an extra phone number you could hook up to it, and the fourth one was for like a friend. That
the plot twist is that they all lead to the cops, like each button.
Yeah. Or so like a medical.
Yeah, they all lead to the same thing.
Right. Oh my god. But like that's what I'm saying though, is you're still aware of TikTok. You don't have to be aware of every trend because a trend happens once every about 4 to 8 days. I'm aware of this because I still follow the trends on TikTok, at least, because I still make content and I need to be aware of it.
I think you're shadow banned, by the way. Like you have not appeared on my shit forever until recently, just out of the blue. You came on my
probably
my page.
I hit a point. That's a separate conversation for a separate time, because I've hit a point where I'm making content and I'm trying to do extremely for me. I was doing a lot of content for the viewers, and I've also accepted that I'm no longer trying to become like whatever on TikTok. I'm just doing it because I want a creative outlet, because I can't do other things right now. So this is a form of creative sort of outburst.
Yeah, that's good.
So that may be why as well. I used to be hyper aware of like the algorithm and what times to post, and I was rewarded for it plenty of times. 100,000 views, 200,000 views, whatever. But I've gotten to a point where it's like I can do that. It's a lot of work for something that I don't want to turn into a career. So the amount of hours that I'd have to spend is just not worth it. Which brings up a perfect topic, which is social media needs to be taken seriously in terms of people making a career. As much as we can crack jokes and say, oh, people like Charlie D'Amelio got famous off of dancing, sure. But there's plenty of people around her, other people that got very famous and deserve it because it is a dick load of work.
Yeah.
The amount of analysis and awareness you have to have on the app and attentiveness to post at the right time, to know and pay attention to your comments and your followers and when they're on versus when they're not, completely and utterly extends beyond anything that I think, I think most adults understand. And when I say adults, I'm talking our parents and anyone who's removed from the social media aspect. I don't really want to call us millennials. We're sort of the zillennial era. We're in that sort of
Yeah.
in between because millennials have kids right now and they're, whatever. And Zoomers are not us. We may have some partial personalities of both. But
Alex, you have a kid on the way, right?
Yeah.
All right. Congratulations, dude, for real.
Yeah. Thank you. I'm
yeah,
excited.
totally. Oh my
But no, I agree. There are people who do fucking make this a whole ass career, like by sitting down, working hard, like you were saying, what you were doing. I think that's fucking admirable to do that because, like, I know, like you were saying, a lot of people shit on like people who just like happen to get lucky and get famous, but like to make it a career, like because you can't just do it once, you can't just be like, all right, I'm gonna post every Tuesday at this time because that's when my followers are active. You gotta adapt to the trends and you gotta constantly better yourself because if you keep on putting the same thing out there, even though if it works, people are gonna get bored. They're gonna look for the next shiny, next young, next big thing.
Well, people get bored or the algorithm will get bored of you. That's the problem because the algorithm is changing and they're making sure that because if they keep the algorithm one way, people will figure it out and then they use and abuse it to get where they need to be. So you are not only fighting the public, but you're fighting the algorithm. You were trying to get ahead of the algorithm before it sinks in for other people. And you got to be the first. And, oh my God, it is both a renaissance of creativity and also a awful downfall to human mentality. Because it takes away the common work week because for example, if you're a YouTuber who's getting paid millions of dollars to make your YouTube videos, you're a Twitch streamer, even better. You're streaming 6 to 12 hours a day. Let's say you're doing it 5 days a week. That is excruciating because sometimes, like I know a streamer on Facebook, he streams from at my time. If it's my time zone, I think he's like 2 or 3 hours behind me. My time zone, he streams from like 12 to 4 in the morning.
That's crazy.
Like there's people who have night shifts and work as guards and stuff who do that kind of thing. Good for you. But like, it's mind boggling that you not only have to be up from 12 to 4 or from 10 to 4 in the morning, but you have to be on your game. If you're playing games, you got to be doing good. You got to be playing your ass off at 4 in the morning. And you got to hope that people are up watching. Like, that sort of concept of the work hours, not really, there's no stable work hours. If your demographic all of a sudden starts shifting to 8 in the morning and you were live streaming at 4 in the morning, you're going to have to shift or lose people and make less money. You're not guaranteed. It's very volatile.
At the same time, oh, sorry, you go.
No, go ahead.
Thank you. I'll go anyway. At the same time, so you got to do that if you want to like make it. You're doing all that, but where's the money coming from at first? You still got to work your main gig, and you have to balance both of those. And it's fucking exhausting to do both,
Right.
And you obviously will go better on yourself. Honestly, go do your shit, but like, it's gonna be a long time before you see something coming your way in regards to making a profit.
That's and here we get to the root of the conversation: capitalist America. Because I mean,
we're all in favor of it here. Yes, right?
No,
yes,
we're not.
definitely.
Yes, we are. Yes, we are.
Sure. Oh my, but like that's honestly what it comes down to, because you see a lot of other countries where people their time off is actual time off. They're allowed to take that time off and do and create with what they want. If they want to watch TV, if they want to make a separate side hustle, they have that time. Specifically in America, we value being nationalistic to your company. We value that mentality of even when it's your work off, you should be working for us. Send those emails off hours because we want you doing this. Send, make those calls, do that off your hours. We're not going to pay you for it, but we will penalize you if you don't.
Mhm.
And we're not really going to give you a lot of benefits or time off because screw you. And not every company's like this. Not every company treats you this bad, but as our society as a whole, major companies value how hard and how much you're willing to give because we're still stuck in that mindset of work till you're 65 and retire. Meanwhile, we've got people making more money than some of us will make until retirement in a year off of YouTube,
Yeah.
vlogging, going to Walmart and making fun of people. Like it's not even difficult content. It's just they did it first and it became funny.
Yes. It's so fucking
That
upsetting to
yeah.
see, like if blatantly honest, it's upsetting to see. And I see a lot of people like you said, like harassing people at Walmart. People will comment on those videos saying like, oh, it's like fucked up, like I hate that I'm going to work and I'm seeing you do this. And then the people who are doing these pranks are like, oh, you're just jealous. This is a jealous thing from you. And it's like, no, it's not that, bro. It's fucking it's just shitty. Just for lack of better words, it's fucked, plain and
Yeah.
simply.
Well, and here's the thing. I don't necessarily agree that a 9 to 5 is a bad job. Some people want that. Some
Yes.
people just want that because it's stable. And that's good. Good for you. The problem is the baseline of those jobs aren't even getting the basic necessities. So they're not getting the basic necessities during their 9 to 5. So they have to get a 6 to 12 job as well. And to support their 9 to 5 as their living style. And because of that, they're not getting time off or free time to be who they want to be. They're not a person. They don't get to be a person. And that's where stuff like social media sucks. Because honestly, if someone's happy in their 9 to 5, I don't think they'd give a shit if some guy's making $1 million. But he gives a shit when he worked for 20 years and went to school, went to college, and his whole degree got him a barely above minimum wage job, and some 14-year-old took a shit on his neighbor's lawn and got 1 million subscribers and turned that into a career because he was smart enough to had an entrepreneurial mindset and turned it into a genuine career and made a brand off of it. That's what sucks, is that sort of profit over people, which I think we hear a lot of in today's society. That profit over people. Most specifically media companies tend to choose profit over people because they want more eyeballs, they want more advertising. And this is, and it's sad, but it's true. And it's the same thing with, you think of it like cable, or you think of like news channels on cable. Same thing. They want eyeballs. They don't care what they get. As long as they get your eyeballs watching, they make more money. And that's why you see a lot of cable and online video news channels making these stories bigger than they are because they want to keep you there and they want to dramatize it and they want to make sure that you're sitting there going, oh my God, what's happening next? Because it's got to be like a movie. Meanwhile, you go on their websites and it's like facts and that's it. Ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous and absurd and crazy. I don't even know how we went from social media to freaking capitalist America, but we did.
I'm good with it. Yeah.
So let's take a hard left and let me ask, what is your favorite social media
Oh, God, probably Twitter.
Bitch. I mean, sorry, it slipped out.
app? Why?
See, that was the Twitter in me.
That was
The Twitter in me.
Right.
I'm
No,
sorry, man.
Because I do have a very sarcastic sense of humor, and I feel like that's the place to do it. That's the place to express it, and for the most part, people get it on there, even though some people don't. But I do think that's mostly what I can identify with, because I don't know. I'm not the person who's like, Snapchat, again, that's not really like a social media. Yeah, you post on your story, you post pictures to your friends, but like that's nothing crazy or substantial. And
Okay.
Instagram, I feel like it's just like, oh, post a picture while you're at the beach, or me and my friends got together and went on a trip, or it's a bunch of girls posting in the same three positions 9 times, you know. So I don't know. I feel like those everyone has somewhere where they belong or fit in or more identify with. I just think mine's Twitter because it's more sarcastic and slightly more unpredictable, I guess.
That was extremely well put, both
Yeah.
introspectively and in general. That was great. What about you, Jose?
Twitter. That's it. I'm not giving in to what he did. So Twitter.
You,
No, I mean
you
I
know
like.
what?
I just what Alex is saying. I mean I have a sarcastic sense of humor. I just say I use Twitter as kind of like a fucking diary, just to say
Yeah.
stupid shit that comes to my head, and I don't think twice. I found
No, it's
myself the other day.
yeah.
Yeah,
No, I say like you literally just get a thought in your head. You're like, I'm going to tweet this, and like you don't
100%.
care if you get likes or retweets. It's like I'm just putting it out there. It's for me.
Yeah. I the other day on Instagram, I was looking through a picture and I saw I was at the beach with you, Alex, and there was a picture of me smiling by the water. And I was like, oh, I like this pic. I'm gonna put it up. But then I was like, it looks a little not weird, but I was like, I just don't think it fits my Instagram right now. And then the fact that I had that thought, I was like, what the fuck am I doing, bro?
Yeah,
Like that's so I'm
it
gonna
didn't fit your
hesitate.
brand.
Yeah, I'm gonna hesitate to not post a picture that I like because someone else might not like it. Like,
Hmm.
why do I give a fuck? So I put it, I uploaded it, and yeah, yeah, I don't know how I got here, but just Twitter's fun. You just post whatever the fuck you want. And that's
Yeah,
what I'm gonna start doing with all my social media. Stop caring so much about what other people
as you should.
think. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's
Well, that, I mean,
good.
realistically, we should all be following that. We should all be posting what we want, when we want, and how we want.
Hmm.
The problem is, and I think we are learning this more because we're getting older and we're learning to, whether it's to love ourselves or get more agency over ourselves, we're learning that, we don't care about other people's opinions. And
You know what that
therefore,
reminded me
Yeah.
of? That's when people started using Finsta, so they could just post whatever they couldn't on their
Oh
actual
my god,
Instagram.
I completely
Finstas.
forgot
I
about
I
remember
that.
never had one because
Finstas.
I was like, why
All
the
right.
fuck am I gonna do
So
that? But like,
that was a short-lived thing, and for people who are watching or listening, um what Alex just said was something that was a short-lived thing. I think it was like a 2 to 3 year period where people started doing what was called a fake Instagram account called a Finsta. And
Yes.
because people years back, and less so now, but people were very sort of hot on the fact that they wanted to keep their Instagram clean, looking good, and a
mhm.
certain aesthetic. And they created a fake Instagram, a Finsta, so that they could post their wild nights and their drunk pictures and their blurry photos and things that basically they really wanted to post, but
Yeah,
they were mentally afraid that people would judge them or it wouldn't get enough likes. And that was a weird time. And I
and they had a
totally
lot smaller audiences. It's more people that they trusted
and
with.
it was always
So
on private.
yeah,
You
Mhm.
couldn't, it was not a public account.
hmm
You had to ask to join that account, and it had
hmm
usually was only friends.
yeah,
And that was really weird. That was a really weird time
hmm
because basically the what that said was everyone who's the Finsta, those are the real friends. Those are
yeah,
the real people.
Yeah.
yeah,
Everyone else you're either following or is following you purely because of likes and
hmm
sort of very I'm forgetting the word, very superficial mean.
hmm
Very weird. You brought that was a really good thing to bring up. Yeah.
I completely forgot about Finsta. I mean,
Yeah.
I admittedly I do follow a few people who still have a Finsta, but I
yeah,
forgot like how like popular they were. Like
hmm
how that was such a common thing. I mean, now we have close friends, and I know some people
yeah,
still use that.
yeah.
Um, yeah,
Yeah. That's extremely weird. Totally forgot about that. Um I'm gonna say my favorite social
that's
media
okay.
is
You're good.
shut up. My favorite is TikTok,
Yeah.
purely because I am active on it and I am making content on it.
hmm
Um, because I think as someone who's keeping up at least somewhat with the trends or the trends that are being presented to me, because I'm in highly understanding that like what's being posted in California or the Midwest is not the same trends that are happening on the East Coast always. There's
Yeah.
different trends that occur in microcosms, and then if they do well enough, they expand to other sections. But I think TikTok, because the freaking content that I see, there's a cesspool of content in there that's just awful. But there is some absolutely cinematic art pieces that are being made for these 3-minute videos, and they deserve every single person to see it, and it's beautiful. And I think it surpasses every other social media in my book, because it is allowing such creative flow for so many people that I've never seen in any of the other social media platforms, and I've been on all of them minus MySpace. So, you know, I that's why I think TikTok's great. I also think TikTok is extremely problematic for its own separate reasons,
Yeah.
given its sort of mentality that like anyone can be famous. It's like Ratatouille, anyone can cook. Um, that concept of anyone can be famous and the way they go about doing it, bit of a problem.
Yeah.
And if you want to make money, you have to give them like your passport and like 2 other major forms of identification, and
That's
hope that
weird.
they don't just like steal your information and sell it. You know, not a huge fan of that either, which is another
Yeah.
reason why I never agreed to like try and make money off of it, because I was like, don't really want to give them my passport and social security,
Mm.
even if that's what you do in like every other company. Just not comfortable yet with social media doing that, because we have too many social media places that are selling information.
Yeah.
Facebook is a perfect example.
Yeah, and I'm buying it.
Oh,
Sorry.
good. Thank you. Yeah, yeah. Buy it and then keep it safe
Yeah.
for me, because I don't want
Oh,
anyone
he
else.
would not.
I
He
got
would
you.
sell it to the highest bidder.
No, I mean, I think this will be good. Hey guys, we're gonna have like exclusive. Peter's gonna tell us his social security number right now. So Peter, take it away.
Yeah, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
The bit
6.
went on for too long, so let's just move on to the next segment.
Yeah, that was a really long pause, Peter.
My bad. This isn't radio. We can pause for like however the fuck long we want. There can be 10 seconds of silence. I don't give a fuck.
All
That's
right, don't say anything for 10 seconds.
If you had to say it, then it's not funny.
You just fucked it up, dude. I
Hold on,
wasn't
hold
trying
on.
to be funny.
Pause.
All right, on the count of 3. Sorry, let's just count it in. 1, 2, 3. Be quiet. No one talk on the count right now. Let's go. No one's talking.
That was a long 10 seconds.
That was nauseating.
That was extremely nauseating. And I have to admit, as someone who did college radio for 5 years, it was extremely difficult. I was
Were you
getting
cringing
anxiety.
inside? Were you just like,
I was getting anxiety. So because for people who don't know, when you do live public radio that's guarded by the FCC, you are not allowed more than 7 seconds of silence. And if you do and they catch you, it's like $3,000. They can charge your station $3,000 for
that's
literally
insane.
7
I
seconds. of
still,
silence.
yeah.
The reason for that is historical. It's no, we don't need to get into it, but it's ingrained in me when I do stuff like this. I'm like, we got to add something in, even if it's 7 seconds of
Mhm.
silence. And so that was like 10 seconds of agony for me. Oh my God. That's weird. That's so weird.
You did it, and I'm proud of you.
Yeah, you were
Thanks,
shaking a
man.
bit while you were counting. You're like,
There was like 2
that's
tears
just
rolling down
my-
his eyes. Like he was just like, fuck.
Oh, God damn. Anyways, social media is under the wing of capitalistic America, and we are all feeding into the breast of this absolute mongoloid of a being.
That's the title of this video. Just put
that
it.
whole thing. That whole thing.
There it is. Yeah. Put it on a bow. That's it.
No, with that, I think we'll close it out. As much as we bashed social media, I think there's an excessive amount of goodness that comes out of social media. The amount of jobs that people are able to have,
Yeah.
the amount of beautiful things that are being created and are coming up from social media are occurring. And I think, something that I was going to touch upon, but I realize is actually in effect to what we're talking about now is social media promotes conflict because conflict makes profit. And all we did for the most part was talk about conflict. So that's part of how we've been propagandized to think, you know, we need to talk more positive. And I'm talking positive at the end when I shouldn't be. But as much negative as we talked about, there's even more positive. It's just not promoted enough and people don't search it up enough.
Mhm.
Yeah. So I think by all means don't look at social media as a single entity of evil. There is goodness to it.
Yeah, I was gonna say as soon as we all log off, we're gonna all check our social media
I
accounts
was gonna
anyway.
say
So
I'm already gonna go on TikTok real quick, see what's going on.
Exactly. So
Or
all
stuff.
right. With that, we will close out the podcast. I don't know what the next one's going to be. We'll figure it out. I don't even think you guys are going to be on it. Maybe you guys will be on another one. We'll see.
Nice.
okay.
So fuck it. All right. Peace out, everyone.
Fuck it. Bye guys. Thank you.
Adios.